That's correct. There's a form and a policy that she has to fill out and go to the police division to work with us on that. I'll give you a contact to get in touch with me in my traffic division, and we'll get the paperwork rolling.
Because before they told me they couldn't give me a handicap spot because of the situation, it's a public street, and then if they put a handicap sign up there, anybody with handicap plates or placard could park there. But I've seen it where they put your license plate and your packet number on that handicap sign.
Don't be concerned, I'll work with you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Ma'am, can you repeat your address?
421 West Fifth Street, I live on the first floor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Director Watson just has to cover something additional to that.
Go ahead. We've had 2 meetings, the past couple of months on alternate side of the street parking, the police, and the fire division along with public works, and we're going to be coming back to the council to suggest streets where that is going to be needed, especially in inclement weather when we have blizzards and stuff. Streets like 5th and 4th, you can't get a plow down the street, the cars parked on both sides. So we want to come to you and offer you a list of streets that we're talking about.
Thank you.
Kelly Campbell, 1158 Woodward Place, Plainfield. I wanted to direct my comments to Director Ryan also. He and the police officers have been very cooperative with the local rescue group in Plainfield, the prayer group that Lisa Borsadon started and is running. So, Director Ryan, we have met and we've talked, and I appreciate, the cooperation as a citizen. My frustration is that because as a citizen, call about the same resident over and over and over, who is breaking the law, and the law is not enforced. Then what's the point of having?
Could you please,
and I also,
could you please address the council?
yes, I'm sorry. So, and I also understand the priorities. I mean, if I call you that a dog is barking and you have a robbery being committed, you're going to go take care of the robbery. If someone's getting hurt, you're going to take care of them. So that's my frustration. It's the same residents, and it's not just been since this has been passed. This is a constant thing. This dog is 8 years old, and this dog has been tied out continuously left and down for hours. And now we have a law, and if I'm calling about the same place, then isn't there a record that says, this is the 10th time this person has been called upon and is breaking the same law? So why aren't they being fined? Why is the law being enforced? As far as Associated Humane, I as a citizen, I do have issues with this organization. Last summer, I'm a pet sitter in this town. I've been a pet sitter for 16 years. I was out on my own route last summer, and there were 3 masters running loose on Kensington and Cedar Brook. I think it's Cedar Brook. And animal control officers there, the police were there. I stopped, as I said, is there anything I can do? And we were corralling these dogs. These are masters. And they weren't friendly. And the animal control officer from Associated Humane was there, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. And I came around the corner and said, "What are you doing?" He's getting in his truck. He says, "Well, there's a call in work. I have to go take care of it." I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "There's 3 dogs, large dogs running at large. If we're leaving, you're not leaving." I said, "Because we're trying to help you." And as it was, we saw the dogs. We corralled them at a house. And the bottom line was we found out that this was a backyard breeding situation. That was the first thing. There were dogs that were chained in crates, in tiny little crates. And I and another pet sitter helped the officer corral these dogs. And the other thing that happened was there were 3 children, 5, 6, and 9, I think they were, who were in this house unattended. And I called the police again and said, "I have 3 children here that are in this house unattended." And I have to say, in like 2 seconds, there were police officers and DYFS was there immediately. But this was a really, really difficult situation, and this officer, the animal control officer, wanted to leave. And when he decided not to, and then we helped him, we got the situation under control. So, we pay them a lot of money, as we just talked about. And there are times when we cannot, as citizens, get a response from this organization. So that's something else that is also frustrating. And this is one situation. There's been several situations that Associated has come and left. I stayed in a corner one time holding a dog for half an hour waiting for them to come. I said, well, all right, I'll interrupt my day, or you come and take this dog because this dog's running at large and it's, 85 degrees and he's hot and he's tired. So could you please come? And I waited. I didn't have to do that. But, well, as a moral situation, as an animal lover, as a professional in the organization, I wasn't going to just leave this dog sitting on the street. So maybe we need to also address Associated Humane and what they really provide for the city, the amount of money that we pay. Thank you.
Sal Carano, 1284 East Front Street. Good evening all. I'm an equal opportunity criticizer when I see it necessary for the administration or for the council. Tonight, I again witnessed the arrogance, and I'm going to try to be quick on this first part because I want to absolutely get to the second part. This woman has been up at the microphone complaining about the Monarch building and the conditions of which she lives in. Shame on all of my elected officials. I am a Plainfield voter, a Plainfield taxpayer, and I certainly am putting it out there tonight. I will help fund an attorney to represent her if in 48 hours she is not notified properly about what's going on. Every time she has come before this microphone, or I on her behalf, or other citizens on her behalf, I hear silence. Well, now that, and I warned the city, if there was a lawsuit filed, then we could all be silent again because of legal restraints. You keep on pushing the envelope with people and their health, and it's not right. I'll talk to you after the meeting. I'll get to you later. We'll talk again. The woman's looking for resolution, not for the brush off from any of you. Having said that, I am and have been appointed, like 6 other people, to CVAC. It's a Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. They had asked me to be their chairman. That'll be the 3rd time I announce I'm the chairman. A few weeks ago, I requested, first and foremost, I'm not going to get into all of it. That'll be next week. But first and foremost, there's been no direction, no formation, no discussion, no pamphlet, no nothing about what our job, what our role is. So I'll explain what I perceived our role was: to review the budget, to look at line items, to look at departments, to make suggestions. Whether they're accepted or not, you fall or rise on your own sword. I recognize that. But for God's sakes, the arrogance of being told by council persons, this is the way it's always been. Really, for that matter, so was the Constitution, and that's why we made amendments for slavery. And for that matter, what did the civil rights fight for? We are taxpayers. Each and every one of you council persons asked and appointed one of us. Not to be ignored, not for our time to be wasted, but for actually researching. And then I'm told, when we make 2 requests, to please speak to the department heads, I'm told, no. I was told in fairness in the beginning, meet with Ron West. I then was told, we'll work the details out after that. But I was also told, the department heads are busy. The woman before me met with the director of public safety, for God's sakes. And a $79 million budget, which, by the way, public safety is the greatest portion of it, can't meet with a committee who's making recommendations to the city council? That sounds horrible to the citizens and the taxpayers of this town. Thank you.
I'm going to respond to that.
Thank you.
So, I've had a number of conversations with this gentleman, Mr. Carano. He first asked me to arrange for the CBAC to meet with every single department head. And I explained that the department heads have a very heavy workload. Let's start somewhere else first and then see how it goes. So what I suggested was that the CBAC members write down all their questions. They arrange a meeting with Mr. West. Mr. West was going to bring one or two people from the finance department, including our CFO, who's now no longer with us, but he was at the time, and meet with CBAC and start that way. And if all the questions couldn't be answered, then we would make arrangements to move forward and get those questions answered in some other way. And 2 weeks went by, and I heard nothing, and then I found out nothing had happened. Mr. Carano went back to his committee. They didn't budge, they didn't move off the dime. So 2 weeks after my first conversation, we had the exact same conversation, and I urged him to expedite this process and help the committee engage with Mr. West and get the discussion started. We still haven't done that. So it's like the committee, represented by the chairman, is giving us an ultimatum. And this is a committee that's formed by the council. We each appointed a person. It's an advisory committee. It doesn't help the process for this committee to dictate the process. This process has to be done thoroughly, carefully, and in a timely way. So the longer we delay approving this budget, the more we're working with an interim budget introduced by the administration without benefit of CBAC or the council's decisions, ultimate decisions about the budget. So the way this process is not working, and I implore the committee, the whole committee, the process, the CBAC process, it does not appear to be working. I implore you, get with Mr. West, have the meeting. The other thing is that you are not being denied access to the department heads. The process, as it has always worked, is that when we hold our budget hearings, we announce the dates at the beginning of this meeting, that the CBAC is invited to each of those meetings, and they will, once the council is finished asking their questions, the CBAC then takes over and asks their questions. The CBAC can also hold any meeting it so desires outside of those budget hearings, and it's up to CBAC to do that. So please, Mr. Carano, show some leadership. Don't come up here and start pointing fingers. Show some leadership and get the process moving.
Can I just ask a question? You said the CBAC is not working. Why is it not working?
It's not working because Mr. Carano is not reaching out to Mr. West and getting the process started.
Ask Mr. West.
And I have to also say that I strongly suggested that the CBAC, to expedite the process, write some questions down so that Mr. West can do the research, can talk to the department heads, and get some answers. To date, I've checked and I've heard that no questions have been submitted. I also learned, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I also learned by running into a CBAC member over the weekend that one member did submit questions to Mr. Carano, and I asked for a copy of those questions. I got them today. To my knowledge, they still haven't been forwarded to the administration, to Mr. West. I don't understand what the problem is.
Can I just say something in reference to that?
I don't think we should be reprimanding citizens who are volunteering their time to volunteer their time to work with a very hard process. I've been under the impression that Mr. Carano has gone to Mr. West and also yourself and has been denied access to department heads. So I don't think we should be reprimanding citizens who are volunteering their times and are working very hard, in reference to trying to make some progress in the city.
I would like to add something.
I'm
Yes,
not
I,
reprimanding the CBAC, I'm referring to Mr. Carano, and I'm only saying what I said because you came up and you misrepresented what's happened.
I just wanted to add, that the individual I appointed, I ran into him over the weekend, and he sent me questions that he had submitted. One of the issues he said was that many of the appointed residents have not been able to, or have not shown up for meetings, so, and he said that that was a frustration that he shared with Mr. Carano, that just, there weren't enough people coming to the meeting, so perhaps one thing might be for, each council person to maybe just chat with